want to talk about Season of the Deep. I know there's Solstice next week, but the season's pretty much over, like the seasonal story, so we'll just talk about this. I'll try to keep the ranting and raving to the end. I'll just try to go through like a list here and try not to get off on any tangents. Anyways, Season of the Deep, talk about the story first. The story involves Sloane and Titan returning. Now, just like with Witch Queen, you don't actually get the entire planet of Titan back. None of the strikes come back. It's mostly just like part of the play space of the old Titan map that came back. So there's that. But again, the story is Sloane's come back. She's kind of taken, and apparently there's like some space whale, whatever worm named Asa that knows something about the Witness, and we need to use the Egregore spores to make a stronger connection so she can talk to Sloane and tell Sloane like some truth behind the Witness. I'm pretty sure it was a 6-week story, and each week was basically like two fragments, sentence fragments, trying to tell a story. And then the 5th week, you get the cutscene talking about the origin of the Witness, explaining what the Veil is, or partially explain what the Veil is, and that's that. There's also another story thing, which is on Neomuna, that I'm pretty sure most people didn't know existed. It's called Veil Containment. You have to do a quest to get there, and then this is actually replayable, and every week there's like some new lore dialogues. It's surrounding Maya Sandesh, and the something starts with a C, Essie or whatever, talking about like their relationship, the secrets behind the Veil, like what kind of like the founding of Neomuna. And yeah, that's pretty much the story. And then you also had two activities. You had Salvage, which is your generic 6-player activity where you just kill shit. And then you had Deep Dives, which is people say it's a roguelike, but it kind of reminds me more like Prison of Elders, where you kind of pick some perks, you go down, you kill some stuff, you keep going until you reach the 3rd floor, and then you fight the boss. It's on like there's 3 bosses that rotate every week, and that's it. Before you say, Ghost of the Deep is not part of Season of the Deep, which is funny because again, if you buy Season of the Deep, you will not get Ghost of the Deep. You have to buy the Dungeon Key, which is separate. So I'm not counting this as part of the season. There's also some balancing changes. A lot of damage boosting exotics got changed. Now they're no longer stacked with surge mods like Baccharis, Path of Burning Steps, Mental Battle Harmony, stuff like that. Nothing too major. I think the best thing that got buffed, I believe, was Eternal Warrior to become basically the Arc version of Path of Burning Steps, and then Radiant Dance Machines got buffed, so now you can just keep dodging as long as you kill stuff. You don't have to be in a certain radius, and apparently it's really good. So that's pretty much the overview of Season of the Deep. Oh, we did get some new exotic armor. I'll be honest, all of them except for one is okay. Let's start with Titan. Titan got the Arbor Warden, something like that. Yeah, Arbor Warden. Basically, you hold down your barricade button, and you can basically throw a grenade that deploys a barricade, kind of like Newcastle from Apex Legends. It has its situations, but it's not really that good. It's more of a PvP exotic. Triton Vice, which is basically the glaive exotic for hunters, where you get like a 30% damage boost if you're surrounded, and if your glaive matches your subclass, the projectile final blow do like a little explosion. Again, not really that good. Also, I think it gives it overflow, like where if you pick up ammo, it gives it overflow or something. Yeah, overflow. Yeah, whatever. Warlock's probably got the best of this season in terms of exotics. Cenotaph Mass is basically imagine Aeons mixed with RT Morrig. So your trace rifle will reload itself over time, and if you mark a high priority target by damaging it, if someone else kills it, they drop heavy. Sorry, excuse me. Really good. But that's pretty much in terms of seasonal stuff. There is one more thing. There is the seasonal exotic mission, which was the Wicked Implement, and you got that from doing by fishing, which is another activity that was introduced with Season of the Deep. And it's not a really complicated quest. You have to catch 3 exotic fish at specific locations. You go down to the 2nd level deep dives. You have to activate the statues first. You go to the 2nd level deep dives and you do a secret exotic mission, and then you get the gun. To get the catalyst, you have to do a tier 7 deep dive. That's how I got mine. I don't know if there's another way if you can get it at lower tiers, but it's guaranteed at tier 7 from what I've seen. The catalyst, and well, the gun itself is basically chill clip on a primary, kind of. You need to get rapid precision crits to slow a target and then freeze a target. And if you kill them, they get a stasis shard, which will interact. It's treated like a stasis shard, so something like collective action or not collective action. Elemental Charge, I think it's called. I forgot if they renamed the new mod. Stuff like that will proc, Grim Harvest will proc, stuff like that. It's coded as an actual stasis shard. It also reloads the magazine, and then the catalyst will actually overflow the magazine up to 30. So there's that. Trying to think, there's something else. I think that's that for overall seasonal stuff. Trying to remember, there was the centrifuge. That is the seasonal exotic. It's pretty cool. You shoot it to charge it up, and it blind explosion max charge to the catalyst mix so that the meter stays up longer. So there's that. They also added deep side harmonizers. I think you get 3 on the free pass, and you get 6 in total if you have the paid pass. And I'm trying to think, is there any other changes? I'm probably missing some stuff. Oh, they added Psyops Battleground to the GM playlist. It is awful. I will talk about that later in the video. But that is the quick and dirty of Season of the Deep. If you want my opinion, should you buy the season? No, because I just forgot to mention the weapons because that's how forgettable they are. We'll go to the helm real quick. The weapons that are returning are the Reckoner weapons. However, most of them are, pretty much all of them are just shadows of their former selves. The most prominent one is Spare Rations, but Spare Rations suffers from the 180 150 conversion, where, if you don't know, there used to be 150 hand cannons called lightweight hand cannons. They all got converted to 140, and for some reason Bungie did not decide to buff the stats of a lot of these 150s that got converted to 140. So now you have a 140 hand cannon with like a lot of, what you call it, handling, but like no range. I think Waking Vigil is another case where it was converted from a 150 to 140 and it didn't get its stats boosted. So in PvP, not really good, and in PvE, hand cannons aren't it. So yeah. There's also the new air quotes version of the weapons, which are the Taken variants. They have like different elemental stuff, but yeah. Also, these aren't actually craftable. I think this is the first time we've had a returning weapon in the season stuff that isn't craftable. Because I remember last season you could, not last season. Well, technically, yeah, last season you could get Imperial Decree and like the class-specific swords craftable, but you can't craft any of these. You can't craft the seasonal weapons because they're seasonal weapons. But yeah, none of these really stand out. Maybe the Shotgun Subsistence in Discord, which is a new perk, which is when you get final blows with another weapon, you swap to this weapon, and when you get killed, it like gives you ammo from thin air. But yeah, Spare Rations really isn't it. And its perks are alright. In terms of Taken weapons, I know people like the Targeted Redaction, which is the Taken variant of Spare Rations. Honestly, the only weapon I actually even consider worth it is the Until Its Return, and mostly because I think it's fun. It has Cascade Point and auto-loading, and it's Rapid Fire Shotgun. And Cascade Point and Rapid Fire Shotgun is really fun because it turns it back to the original RPM before they got nerfed a long time ago. So that's a mouthful, but yeah, none of these weapons really stand out. Their origin perk is pretty much inverse surplus, so the less abilities you have charge, the more stability, handling, and reload I think you get. Yeah, so it's pretty much inverse surplus. That's pretty much it. Again, when you go fishing, you just press square interact, and then you release them into here. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire season. Again, I don't recommend getting it. None of the weapons are really worth it. Again, all the Reckoner weapons from, Season of the Drifter, they're all shadows of their former self. None of them really stand out. For every like weapon, I could think of a better analog to it. Again, for a hand cannon, you have the not the Ice. Well, Ice Luna is pretty good. But the Austringer, that's another kinetic 140 that's really good. Rose is a lightweight 140. So there's a lot of good hand cannons. Bug Out Bag, again, you can choose any of your aggressive SMGs. Again, solar aggressive SMGs. You have borrowed time, so you don't necessarily need this one. Outlast, it's a rapid fire pulse rifle, which isn't really, I don't really use this in Crucible or in PvE and PvP maybe, but you have Darkest Before, maybe even a Jurassic Green if you still have one of those around. There's a lot of good rapid fire. There's even Peace of Mind, the kinetic slot from like 2 years ago. Last Man, it's a shotgun. We have a lot of shotguns. I mean, you can have 1-2 punch. There's a lot of shotguns. Like Soul Survivor, we're not in a sniper meta, but I mean, can have field prep and Vorpal. I think I think it has Volt Shot too. But again, there's a lot of other snipers you can have that are just better. Then just in case of sword, I know they're reworking swords. I think either next season or the last season before Final Shape. So who knows? But again, it's none of these are to write home about. And again, with the taken weapons, none of them are really that interesting. People kind of call this like the mini Immortal because it has target lock and rangefinder, but both of those are getting nerfed, so we'll see. Also, this thing has horrible stats, so yeah, really low stability. Again, the only thing I would maybe consider worth crafting is the shotgun, because I find it fun. But I've spent too long talking about this part. But anyways, going back, would I recommend getting Season of the Deep? If you want to play Destiny, then you've already got this season. But if you're on the fence, no, you can avoid it because it's just another season. Are there story implications? Yeah, but there's a lot of contradictions and retcons, and the story's a little bit of a mess. And I'll get into that later. But I wouldn't recommend getting the season. The dungeon was included in the season, maybe. But as it is now, it's just another season. The gear isn't even that good this time. You're not really missing anything crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So now we're gonna go on to like the little, I guess the critique or rant portion, I guess. We'll just go through the list one by one and just start talking about them. So salvage. The issue of salvage is that it's very boring. It's another seasonal activity where you just kill shit. There's not enough enemy spawns. It feels like it's very sparse, so you kind of just sit around doing nothing. The final bosses, I think there's two of them. One of them is an ogre to shoot in the back, and I forgot the other one already because I don't really do so. Oh, it's the Hive Celebrant dude that you have to stand in the symbol and shoot. Nothing too interesting. Again, salvage is kind of boring. Deep dives has some juice to it. It's really Destiny really would benefit to having a true horde mode or a true like endless roguelike mode. Something like Prison of Elders in this game would be pretty nice, but this is kind of close to that. The only issue I have with deep dives is that the scaling kind of gets crazy to the point where you're fighting GM level enemies at the end of it if you're doing the pressure trials. So that kind of sucks. Also, another tangent too is that while yes, it is cool that you can finally choose between private matchmaking and public matchmaking, because of the way the exotic is tied, the Wicked Implement Scout Rifle is tied to the gun or to the deep dive mode. A lot of people right now who just want to run normal deep dives can't because they're gonna have you might have the two other people in your fire team trying to do the exotic mission. So that's how it is. But again, this is one of those modes where it could be something if Bungie decides to expand upon it, but it's a seasonal mode, so it's probably going to disappear in a year anyway, so that's probably going to deep dive. Unfortunate too. Oh, I forgot to mention there's the underwater air quotes mechanic. It's more of a gimmick where you just collect bubbles underwater, and if you don't, you die. That's it. I mean, it looks pretty, but whatever. Again, Salvage Legend. I don't even know why this is a different selector, but whatever. So yeah, seasonal activities aren't really yet. Deep dives are okay, but after a while they kind of get boring. And again, if you keep doing pressure trials, you're going to be fighting GM level enemies, and it's kind of annoying. So there's that. Where to begin? Oh, also Bungie did not update the armor and weapon stuff like they said they would. At least the armor, they said they'd introduce like new yearly armor every year. They haven't done it for Lightfall, so there's that. They've added some new weapons to the world loot pool, but unfortunately they're very rare. And it's also confusing because I remember during Season of Plunder you had really great focusing. You had a world weapon focusing, and then you had a foundry focusing if you wanted to focus Vice, Hawkeye, Omlon, Suros weapons. I don't know why they removed that. That was a really great feature, but world weapons are really hard to get. The new ones, anyways. Like I believe, is it called Combined Action? The new Arc 120. I don't even know their names because they're so rare. But there's that. So I think I talked about that. Veil Containment. Veil Containment was horribly set up. It was described as a way. First of all, the best way I can describe Veil Containment is like just look at it where it is on the map. It's in the corner. It's an afterthought, and you can obviously tell when this thing was put together. It was put together as an afterthought to try to help explain the horrible ending of Lightfall. Anyways, they marketed this as a this mission will explain the Veil, and in hindsight, it is starting to explain the Veil. But the way they propositioned it is that it was just a one-time mission that would explain things and you're good to go. This is where you get the new strand aspects too. Turns out, first of all, to do the mission was just a wild fetch quest of just doing pointless stuff, killing pointless stuff until you get to the Veil Containment. Again, they could have just cut all that out and just started here. But essentially, the very first time you do this, you just get a log about oh, Maya Sandesh is she's lesbian, she has a wife, and they're on Neomuna. That's it. That is all you learn from the very first week. And again, as someone who cared about the story, when I heard about this, I'm like, oh, so this is the mission that's supposed to explain everything. I've learned literally nothing. I kind of just didn't care about it. Um, Spoilers coming ahead for lore stuff. But again, I've heard other people, I've watched other channels like the Destiny Lore Vault go through the mission. You learn about how the Veil causes like sudden brain death, especially in Exos. Um, Also, a lot of Vex, like they're talking about a lot of Vex stuff and integrating Vex stuff into technology they use. Like they have like Super Siva essentially, like the nanotech they use, like Quicksilver Storm. The newest revelation came out that apparently Lakshmi 2 is actually the copy of Maya Sandesh. So the original Lakshmi 2 died from the Veil, and Maya Sandesh put her brain print copy to Lakshmi. So technically, she's Lakshmi, not Lakshmi 3, because it's not a reboot. She's someone else in her body. Now, if you're wondering, well, then how the fuck did she end up on Earth and all this other stuff? Yeah, that's kind of the issue with this season and Lightfall in general, is that a lot of lore doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, a lot of things just don't make sense. So, there's that. And then talking about the story is really out of place. Again, I always say this every time I'm talking about the Lightfall seasons or Lightfall in general. It just feels like it's out of place. Like, this stuff should have happened before the Witness showed up, not after the Witness showed up. Especially Season of Defiance, where the Shadow Legion were kidnapping people, made no sense. Because why are they kidnapping people? Who knows? I guess. Whatever. Season of Deep definitely feels way more story relevant because obviously you're learning about the Witness. You're talking, the deep, the darkness. But again, another issue is Asa. It's revealed that Asa, so the worm gods are. Asa's basically a worm god that wasn't corrupted by the darkness. She's one of the. Her kind was one of the first to fall to the Witness or whatever. And when you see the cutscene about the Witness, the origin of the Witness, that also has a ton of like what the fucks and like red flags in my brain. But also another big red flag is, how does Asa know this information? Did the Witness tell Asa about this while they were killing everyone? I don't understand how the space whale knows about this. Whatever. Also the cutscene. So the cutscene, it's revealed that the Witness is actually it was once originally a race that found the Traveler and it was uplifted by the Traveler, but because the Traveler never talked to them and never gave them any purpose, once they reached like their technological height, they sought out purpose and they somehow found the Veil and they found out the darkness and they found the darkness can control shit, and they found, okay, well, the Traveler brings chaos, so we can be the yin, or we can be the yin to the yang or whatever. And for some reason they decided to collectively put all their bodies together into one like body, like all their consciousness into one like body or mind, and that's why the Witness has like the gas head. So the Witness is basically an entire dead civilization in one person, which is cool, I guess, but also kind of blows now because that means all the pyramid ships are just empty, which kind of sucks because I was kind of hoping for a darkness subclass, or maybe all those ships had different disciples. Imagine like, oh, you thought Rokel's hard, well guess what, there's like 18 million other ones, like, but whatever. Yeah, that cutscene really did destroy the Unveiling lore book, one of my favorite lore books to date to read. And then Bungie also said something about, I know I'm going a little tangent here, but this is about the story and like my issues with it. They made a tangent basically talking about how lore is subjective and how everything's unreliable in their stories, which, I mean, in Destiny lore, it really hasn't been established. For instance, the lore book Truth to Power and even the Books of Sorrow, there was, a level of, okay, this cannot be true because the narrator, the author was Savathun, right? The goddess of lies and trickery. So it makes sense that, okay, not everything in this lore book, it should be true or should be taken with a grain of salt. The Unveiling lore book is a little bit different because obviously it is a little bit a little bit off, because it's obviously the darkness itself. At the time we assume the darkness itself, the Winter were talking to us about like the creation of the universe, all this other stuff. And there's also like a level of grain of salt, but from the way the witness has been characterized with the darkness in general, it doesn't seem to be malicious or like to lie to us on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it's so to say that, oh, the Unveiling lore book more or less was just made up by the Witness is like, that just doesn't seem in character. It just seems weird. It seems like, again, that's a cop out you wrote because you messed up the lore. Anyways, there's so many other lore retcons and stuff we can talk about, like the Black Heart, all this other stuff, but Lightfall has really fucked up the lore. And that's why I really just don't care about the seasonal stories. Speaking of which, circling back to the seasonal story, at the end of the seasonal story, it basically gets revealed that we need to talk to Savathun again. Big surprise because she knows the way through the portal. And I'm so shocked. I definitely didn't see that coming when they left that cliffhanger open at the end of Witch Queen where Amaru gets teleported away. Anyways, but don't get your hopes up because remember, Bungie themselves said that Savathun won't be as pivotal in the next season, which again baffles me because I just whatever. So there you go. That's the next season. I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to it either. But there's that. In terms of other stuff, the exotic changes to things like Bacchus, Path of Burning Steps, I don't like them at all because in their mind they want you to not run surge mods and have the exotic run surge mods for you, but that kind of just waters down to every exotic just being, oh, it is just a damage booster. It doesn't do anything else for me. I could why not why I could just run 3 surge mods and not run Bacchus, you know, like because the trade-off before the nerf was that I can get a lot of damage out of using Bacchus with arc and stasis weapons. However, it's on a 21-second cooldown because that's how Bacchus the light shift thing works. Same with Path of Burning Steps. I can get a really huge solar damage weapon boost, but I have to get multi kills pretty consistently, and because the Path of Burning Steps isn't guaranteed to get you the stack of Firewalker every time you get a kill, solar weapon kill. So again, I think it's ass backwards instead of it really encourages you not to use these exotics because again, I can just replace Bacchus with triple surge. Oh, I might miss out on a scavenger, whatever. I'll have someone running Cenotaph. It's like whatever. They added back elemental charge in a nerfed way. Back before the armor changes, like the whole entire armor overhaul, elemental charge used to give you one, like I guess, charge of light or armor charge for just picking up, fire sprite or any shit. Now it takes a couple of like shards or something to get an elemental charge, I guess. I still think the build system has been completely neutered and watered down to what it used to be. Again, my only complaints with the old mod system was elemental affinity and mod cost. If they just changed those to be less and not have elemental affinities, I think the mod system the way it was fine because you had 3 unique builds like Warmind Cells, elemental charge, charge of light, and then you had like mods that can mix and match and do all kinds of shit. Now it's just like, oh, you make orbs and then orb gives you benefit, I guess. I don't know. They also added powerful attraction, which basically lets you pick up orbs and other things when you use your class ability. It also works from Motes and Gambit. I think Shoot to Loot also works on orbs now too. So there's that. Also the GM, the Psyops Battleground. If you're gonna make a Battleground a GM, can you please adjust the spawns and check to see if like the platinum thing even works? This is like the second time. This is the second Battleground that has become a GM, and this is the second time it has been a horrible GM because Mars Heist Battleground is also awful. With this one, again, infinitely spawning enemies. Again, I think the biggest issue too outside of infinitely spawning enemies is that the platinum is bugged because I believe you cannot kill the Unstoppable Ogre. You have to wait because if you kill the Unstoppable Ogre at the end of the bridge, or if you I think it's either, I think if you walk too fast to the first encounter, you like bug it. The point is it bugs out, so after suffering through that really hard GM, you get like gold rewards. You don't even get like your guaranteed adept weapon. So yeah, I'm never doing that GM again outside of just helping someone. I got my Osprey, I'm calling it quits. There's that, the GMs or whatever. Artifact, I guess, is not really good in terms of anti-champion stuff because you only have anti-barrier auto rifle. So there's that. In terms of like actual mods, like electric armor, thunderous retort, amped up are pretty good. They obviously want you to use like arc this season, which I guess that's fine. It's just another seasonal, artifact. Nothing really too crazy. There's probably some other stuff to talk about, but I mean, oh yeah, I guess we can talk about Last Wish got updated this season, I believe, and a lot of the weapons got a really big glow up. Apex Predator obviously went from literally the worst rocket to one of the best rockets in the game. So there you go. Also, it's super easy to farm Last Wish because 2 things. One, you have the 2 chests from Shiro Chi or the Morgith checkpoint, and I think Last Wish is one of the only raids where you can still get raid weapons without actually ever doing any of the encounters. Like, you can get any of the weapon, any of the armor without actually touching the raid at all, outside of just going and opening the chest. But when it's the featured raid, the first encounter, Cali, is super easy. All you have to do is get 6 people. I don't even think you need communication, because the way it works is that when it's the featured raid, all the challenges are available, and one of the challenges for Cali is basically activating all the wrong plates to summon 3 taken ogres. You kill them, and then you kill the boss, and that's it. So all you have to do for the week that Last Wish is available to farm, just do the encounter by stepping on all the plates, activating all the plates, and then kill in the middle, and that's it. And you get double drops. Like, it's the easiest farm ever, and a lot of those weapons are really good. So if you don't want to do the dungeon, if you don't have the dungeon to get a good cold comfort, it's a pretty reliable way to get the Apex Predator. I have it crafted, bait and switch reconstruction, really good. Another thing to talk about too is actually there's a couple things. Deep set harmonizers. I hate these. Because the way Bungie has treated them, you can only hold 1 at a time, and if you don't have the season pass, you can only hold 3 compared to 6. So it's just really dumb. If there's a way to earn these, this would be way better if you could earn these. So you could imagine if you did like a GM, you can get a deep set harmonizer. You did like a really high whatever. Just I don't know why these are tied to the season pass. These should just be available for people to have deep sight. But we all know why, hamster wheel, stuff like that. Also, exotic armor focusing came this season, and it's been like broken like 18 times in a row. So there's that. And it costs an arm and a leg like 3 ascendant shards, like a fucking exotic cipher, and like a shit ton of glimmer. The issue with exotic ciphers is that you can't turn them in whenever you want. You have to turn them in when Zerg is there, and you can only pick up 1 at a time. So if you want to like focus in armor or something, you have to like wait a week to do. It's really ridiculous, like the time getting on that. Also, it'd really be nice to be able to hold more than 10 ascendant shards, or make it 12, so it's 3 divisible by 3, 10 isn't divisible by 3 evenly. So it just there's a lot of shit like that. What else? There was something else I forgot to mention. Exotic armor focusing with shit. What else? God, I'm forgetting already, and I just thought about it when I was talking. So I should write shit down. Fishing. Fishing is dog shit, complete RNG, waste of time. It is coded as a public event, so if another public event spawns, you cannot fish, and you lose all your focus fishing, and focus fishing is a scam. Essentially, when you get a high quality fish, purple or exotic, you increase the chance for other people, or for yourself, to catch more high quality fish, except that I don't believe it's fucking true. Also, there's a catch mechanics Urquhart where you just press the button and you get a perfect catch. Again, I've had multiple greenfish show up when I've had max focus fishing and perfect catches, so it's RNG. Also, again, some sadists Bungie decided to add a general exotic fish, so if you're trying to go for the scout rifle, which we're going to talk about, we'll talk about that next. Let's say you need like the moth head, right, from the Stone World, you could get that exotic fish to come out, and it turns out it's a Capri's axe head, so, get fucked, right? It's retarded. The exotic scout rifle is not worth the effort to get it. Barring all the fishing struggles. Also, by the way, if someone has all 3 exotic fish and on fish at all, they can activate the statues for you. But barring even the requirement to even get this thing, the mission itself is poorly balanced, and the fact that, I mean, you can say skill issue, that's fine. Fine, I've got my gun, whatever. But let's go to deep dives real quick. Is it chill touched? No. What's hot champions? Whatever. But the final boss was a Tormentor that was in the enraged state. Okay, let me skip a little bit. So, first of all, to even get to the exotic mission, you have to go through a deep dive and go through the 2nd tier. So if you fail the deep dive, you gotta start over. If you don't get the statue, you gotta start over. Also, again, because it's not its own little node selector, you have the issue of a lot of people who just want to do normal deep dives and just want to, casual, don't want to, worry about forming a group and just want to matchmake. They're stuck, having to deal with people trying to do the deep dives, right? Or the exotic mission. So that's problem number 1. It's not its own little node. Problem number 2 is that, like how do I even describe it? The first boss isn't bad, right? You just gotta kill some dudes and do some bonus damage, whatever. It's just the final boss is a Tormentor. That, again, I know I'm repeating myself, that's enraged, and so that means it only has a crit spot in its chest. And it is a maze, you don't have a radar usually, so it's kind of claustrophobic. You have to fight Taken, which are just annoying. And the week it came out, Chill Touch was a thing, which means anytime you get melee, you get slowed, and if you get slowed, you can't sprint, so you stop doing whatever you're doing. If you're jumping, you can't double jump. You can't use your class ability. Pretty much you're just a sitting duck for a little bit. And again, the Tormentor melees you and can suppress you, so you can get suppressed and slowed. The Taken, Phalanx Shield Bash thing or Shield Knock also count as like melee, so you can also get slowed. It was just not a fun experience, and the boss had a lot of help. I know I've seen people solo it, like a Solar Titan, like Forerunner, but that's because Solar Titan's broken as shit. But even in a group of 3, it was cutting it close. We definitely felt like Divinity was necessary there because he just moves too much. Like, I don't mind having a boss that moves too much, but when the crit spot is on the chest, and again, they're not always facing you, it really sucks to use anything that can't do crit damage, because again, they take severely reduced damage from not hitting the crit spot. So yeah, it was a really pain in the ass to get the exotic scout rifle, and all it boils down to was just a scout rifle that can use shield clip, I guess, but in the video, literally the video before this one, I showed that, yeah, you can chill clip from any range with just anything, I guess the difference is this has infinite ammo, whatever. But yeah, this scout rifle is pretty ass. It has utility, I guess. Like technically, chill clip is the most versatile like champion stunning thing in the game because slow automatically stuns on overloads and freeze and shatter stuns unstoppables. But you can get away with freezing barriers because again, if you freeze a barrier, they can't put up your barrier. However, you get into this real weird like juggling game where the moment if you freeze a barrier before it puts up its barrier, the moment it breaks out is gonna do it again. So you have to apply chill clip immediately. So it's kind of like a back and forth. So technically you can cover all 3 champions, but I don't really like to use it on barriers because that juggling game. But yeah, and then the exotic scout rifle is so boring. Like they introduced the perk collective action where you get a damage bonus for collecting like stasis shards or just any elemental like effect like a fire sprite or void breach. And you'd think that'd be the perfect catalyst or something, but no, they just gave it like an overflow, which doesn't make sense because again, it refills on a kill anyway. So now if it was that it overflowed and then the overflow part would be like a normal chill clip where any shots above the 15 round magazine would slow and freeze, then there's maybe something, but this is just so meh, right? Also, I think Malfeasance got a Vorpal catalyst this season, which is cool, I guess, for Lucky Pants hunters. Also, this needs to be said. I'm so sick and tired of exotic catalysts having to have a million fucking kills. I don't get why it's even like that anymore. I mean, I know why it's like that hamster wheel, but it's just so annoying, especially for like the quest ones where you go through all these quests and then all this stuff just to have. So I have to like sit in Grasp of Avarice for like an hour and killing Thrall and Acolytes. Like that's ridiculous. I don't know why it should. These things should automatically unlock at this point. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I didn't go super crazy on my rant and tangent. Oh, I almost forgot about the most important thing. I completely like black holed it. The server stability. The game stability has been in the worst state, and that's not an exaggeration. I've ever seen it in like the 10 years of playing this game, where you have like weekly maintenance, weekly hours of downtime. Now, I don't know about this week because I haven't really been playing this game at all. Like I've been playing other games. But yeah, the game stability has been complete trash, and it really makes it laughable that they, again, one of the main reasons they said they needed sunset shit and, content vault and all this other crap was to, promote game stability, right, to help make the game healthier, and also, to make you chase new gear. And then here we are, like, 2 years later after the fact, and they're bringing back old locations, they're bringing back old weapons, they're bringing back pinnacle perks and stuff. And it's like, well, what was the point of sunsetting anyways? Like, maybe the game would actually be in a worse spot, like, if everything wasn't sunset, maybe, but it is awful. I think next season they said they're going to add a exotic mission rotator, but Outbreak and the Whisper mission won't be in there, so I don't care anymore. I think Presage, Harbinger, Seraph Shield, and maybe some other ones are going to be in there. I think Vox Obscura. I don't even think... Is Vox Obscura selectable anymore? Yeah, no, it's going to... Vox Obscura is going to be in there. Don't care. Would be cool if DMT and Hawkmoon become craftable. It'd save me some vault space. It would be kind of nice, but... that exotic mission rotator comes back, I won't play it, because again, the exotic missions I want to play aren't there, and I've done Prestige a million times, I've done Harbinger a million times, I've gotten my Hawkmoon rolls, I've gotten my DMT rolls, so I don't really care. So there's that. Again, I guess I will talk about the dungeon, I guess, even though it's not part of the season, technically. But, long story short, aesthetically, very nice dungeon. Again, I feel like it should have came sooner, like it should have probably been swapped out with Spire the Watcher or Duality, but whatever. Like it's very pretty, very nice to go through. My only complaint, 2 complaints. One is that the 3 complaints. First encounter, make it 3 symbols. I don't know why it's 4 symbols, it takes too long. Second complaint is that transversing down there every time gets kind of annoying. Like the first couple times, like, oh, it's cool, you're going underneath tight and all that sort of stuff. But after a certain point, like, I just kind of want to get to the boss already and kill stuff. So maybe there's like a secret code you could put in to like skip to the first boss, maybe. Um, and then last complaint is the bosses have a lot of health, mainly due to the fact that they have a shield that like can absorb a shit ton of damage before it breaks. And Artless can one-shot it. I'm pretty sure that's a bug, and that will be patched out eventually. But it is insane. Like again, when I did it solo, I did like 15. The first boss had like 15 million health, because again, a majority of that health came from the shield. Like once the shield's gone, they have like normal dungeon boss health. The final boss too is really annoying because the setup, like to get to damage phase, takes a while. You do have a really long damage phase, but the setup takes a while, and the boss moves erratically. Like it would be nice if she would teleport. Like she would have like a line or some way for you to know where she's gonna teleport next. Because trying to aim like a rocket at her or stuff like that when she's moving is really hard. So there's that. Overall, though, a really good dungeon. I like it a lot. It's just that if I could just skip to the first couple bosses and reduce the shield health, then that'd be fine. The weapons are pretty good, mainly Cold Comfort being the best rocket in the game, because, Enemy Assassin, bait and switch with the Restoration Ritual, you can fire off like, what, 4 or 5 rockets? They do 35% bonus damage with, Wolfpack rounds, stuff like that, really good. Then you have the Energy Immortal from the Nope Survivors, I think it's called, which is, just a solar aggressive frame that uses the same model as every other aggressive frame, apparently. Again, Target Lock, Rangefinder, Demolitionist, Incandescent, Demo Adrenaline Junkie, I think. You have the first Stasis Waveframe Grenade Launcher, which is the Survivor's Epitaph, or New Pacific Epitaph or something. So that's pretty cool. Now you can run a Waveframe with other stuff. I'm not a fan of Waveframes, but there's that. The Glaive is a Rapid Fire Glaive, which I think the Hunter one's also, the Exotic Hunter one's also Rapid Fire Glaive, maybe. I don't know. Also, completely forgot, they changed the cost for the exotic glaives to the evidence board, because I remember you could just buy them with Glimmer or something, and I have to like spend an exotic cipher and some other shit, so yeah, I'm not getting those. Yeah. But that's pretty much it. Again, overall, this season has really been bogged down by mainly 2 things: the game stability, and then just the story and a lot of the lore. Again, it really, that witness cutscene really did mess up like the unveiling lore book for me, and that kind of annoyed me. Again, like Lakshmi 2 being Maya's, and that comes out of nowhere. Fine, whatever. It just seems like they're throwing stuff at a wall at this point. Now again, they talked about Marathon, I think, was announced during the season, I believe. And people are saying that's where all the effort's been going, probably. But they did say, I believe on Twitter, that, oh, they're not giving up focus on the game, all this other stuff. We promise we'll blah, 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 blah. Well, Bungie, next season, you did say a couple, during Season of Seraph, when people were, or I think Season of Plunder, where people complained with the seasonal model, and you said, well, we already kind of finished all these other seasonal models, all the other seasons, so, you're going to have to wait until, like, Season 22? Or is this 21? What season is this one? Yeah, Season 22. So Season 22, they said they're going to shake up the seasonal model and change some shit around. So, that's one of the promises they said. They have a track record of breaking their own promises. Also, the Eververse store has become more monetized. The seasonal shaders are now in packs that you have to buy for like $10 now. Like it used to be, you could just buy like 7 Sisters or whatever the hell for Bright Dust. Also, a while back they changed it so that these used to cost like 40 Bright Dust and they cost 300. It's just like I said, I'm at the point where I just want, I'm just in it just to see the end. It's like a sinking ship at this point. I'll go down with the ship, after that. But after that, I'm pretty much done with Destiny. I don't care. They said the Vex are going to become important after Final Shape, which blows, because I think the Vex are the most interesting faction that have been underutilized and, severely misrepresented. With like we've gotten like what, 1 Vex expansion, like the Vex were the main antagonist for the vanilla Destiny 1, and then they had the Curse of Osiris, and then they had Seasons. They didn't have any other, there was no like Forsaken style Vex thing or anything like that, which sucks because they're my favorite faction. I think they're the most interesting one, and the most dangerous one. But apparently after Final Shape they'll become a thing. Well, that sucks because I'm a Vex fanatic, but I guess I'll have to watch someone else play it or something, because like I said, after this, I'm pretty much just done with Destiny and Bungie products in general. I think it's kind of funny that they, like, how do you expect people to buy into Marathon or stuff, or like a PvP game, when you look at the state of this game? Like, you don't treat PvP with any kind of respect. You've neglected it. even your own player base. You've heavily monetized, you know, the Eververse store. There's, you know, it's pretty funny how Bungie has pretty much sunken. And I mean, the signs were always there from the beginning. Again, ever since OG Vanilla 1, it's hard making content. That quote's been floating around forever because that, you know, turns out, guys, it wasn't Activision's fault. It was Bungie's fault the entire time because they can't do shit. And it's starting to honestly feel like they really just don't want to into success with Destiny this entire time. Like I don't know. It's kind of sad to think about it, but like I said, I don't even have any hopes for Final Shape because they said in the past that hey, you don't expect anything Forsaken style ever again, and that GDC presentation where again they don't want to over deliver, they don't want to set expectations. It's I don't know. After that GDC presentation too, that really just was just like wow. They're just blatant with we don't really much give a fuck because we already have like a loyal fan base that'll pay for shit, so why even try? So yeah, again, I don't know. I don't know about. I don't really care about the next seasons. It's funny because they always they mention in another interview, talking about like how people received Lightfall and stuff like that, where they said oh it was intentionally less vague, which is a complete lie and which is a complete contradiction from their Vidoc, where they said it's supposed to answer questions, which means they lied, whatever. But they said that they are experimenting with new storytelling stuff, and I'm like, Bungie, it's the 11th fucking hour. Why are you experimenting with new storytelling shit? No. Like, okay, that's thing number one. Thing number two is that the way it traditionally is that the expansion would, you know, wrap itself up or whatever, and then the seasons would bring up like a new enemy or lead into the next expansion, right? They did the reverse with Lightfall, where Lightfall is going to set up the new seasons. Well, guess what? These seasons so far felt like every other season, and it just makes Lightfall even look worse as a result. And again, this stuff will probably be gone in a year, so Lightfall on its own will look really bad. So it's just like at this point, I don't know what Bungie's doing. I don't even know like. I roll my eyes when I say this, but it's like with the Marvel thing with me. It's pretty much like this is like the end game, right? Avengers Endgame. After Endgame, I just don't care about anything else. Like I think, you know, with Marvel, like after Endgame, most people just left. They didn't really care because that's like Thanos. That's the big bad, right? Who else is there? I know there's other people in comics, but like with the Destiny analogy, after the Witness, who like I guess the Vex, and that is an interesting storyline with the Vex. You know, somehow maybe obtaining some paracausality or becoming so advanced that they become like a third force of nature. That'd be really cool. But again, it saddens me to say this. It comes back to, oh wait, Bungie's writing the story. Oh wait, it's, you know, it's like it's Bungie that's gonna handle the story. They're probably gonna fuck it up somehow. Like every time I see a seasonal trailer, like a seasonal plunder, I'm like, oh look, it's a catch crashing of ships. That could be so cool. It could be like a Battlefield thing where you destroy ships and you're piloting ship. Oh wait, it's a season, so just expect the bare minimum. You know, it's like that's where I'm at this point. Anytime I get excited for any like story stuff, I'm like, oh wait, it's Bungie. They're just gonna fuck it up somehow, and they somehow do. It's just hard to, you know, get excited for anything else. But that's it. That's Season the Deep. Overall, again, I wouldn't recommend getting it. Again, I bought the deluxe edition because honestly, I play the game enough to, I guess, warrant that. It was only $50. It's ridiculous. $100. God, there's even the seasonal price. Like, there's. So the reason why I bought the deluxe edition is because again they increased the seasonal price is $12, and you can't buy $12 of silver. So they buy the $15 silver and then 10, 10, 10 on top of the dungeon key. So more or less, if I were to keep playing the game, it would cost more to not buy the deluxe edition than to buy the deluxe edition. So I bought the deluxe edition. And I bought it. I think I bought it during Season of the Deep, anyways. Like I said, I don't pre-order crap. Again, this is the second time I bought a deluxe edition. The last time I bought it was Witch Queen, and that was during Season of the Chosen. So or was it Chosen? Risen. But the point is, I don't really pre-order crap. I don't buy, like, my only Eververse transactions are individual purchases of silver to buy the seasons during Beyond Light, because I didn't buy the Beyond Light Deluxe Edition because I didn't like it. I didn't like Beyond Light, but it really, I don't know, it's really interesting, the state of the game and the monetization that's with it. The game's more, you pay more than you've ever had and you get less, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. They snuck in the Season of Defiance into the normal standard edition of Lightfall, so it's 50 instead of $40, and yeah, overall, like I said, Destiny spirits are pretty low. Now, however, someone's like, oh, but they're gonna release a trailer and whatever. That might be most of the community, but I don't know. Like, I never. Even if they made the best trailer ever, my brain again automatically clicks back to, oh wait, it's a season. Oh wait, it's Bungie. They're gonna fuck this up somehow, so I don't care. But yeah, overall, Season of the Deep is just a season in the list of seasons. More story relevant, I guess. I guess it's definitely more relevant to the story, but again, there's nothing in the season I'm like, man, you have to play this now before it goes. If you're completionist, there you go. But again, if you're like someone who's like, I'm kind of bored of Destiny, I've been kind of coasting around, this ain't the season for it, man. I don't think any of them are, but we'll see. Again, next season should be the season when they change up the seasonal model and yada yada yada, or change up the structure. So we'll see. But anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching.